Greetings. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry I'm a little bit late. I sent a little message out that I was going to be late, but I sent it to the wrong class. So sorry about that. How you doing, Michael?
Doing good.
Good. All right. Y'all, I'm sorry that I'm a little bit late. If you're just joining us. How's everyone doing?
That would be weird.
Good.
for everyone.
Good.
Hey, have we met?
We only met on email.
Okay, tell me your name real quick.
Jacob Dunn.
Jacob. Oh yeah, it's good to meet you. How you
It's
doing?
good to finally meet you.
Awesome, y'all. I'm running a little bit behind
Own
today.
values.
No
Like,
worries
that
at all.
It's bad to do things that you know are bad for you. And it's hard to see people just decide to do that and then have
Can
no
you hear
understanding
someone
of the
talking?
contradictions and pretend that they're not
Yes.
All right.
there. But I know that's like a personal thing. So
Right.
I think
If
we've
I'm
got.
wrong, I'm wrong. I have no way of knowing for sure.
Um,
I guess you think I'm wrong, right?
about
Like your particular fixation.
do y'all know who's
maybe part
talking
of
right
it is just
now?
because I feel like I haven't actually gotten this like we have had a lot
think
of
it's David.
conversations about it, but
Yeah, I
feel
think
like
it is too.
I'm just
Yeah, I
gonna do
think
this in
it's
case I
background
follow.
noise. It doesn't sound like they're talking to us.
Oh yeah. Hey, why don't y'all? Yeah, thank you. That's much better. With such a small class, I don't see a real need necessarily for everyone to stay on mute. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems to me that if the class is small enough to where we can just leave it unmuted and we'll be fine. It seems to me. How's everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
I'm all right. Jacob Levels, I'm grateful for your offer to maybe help me with Zoom. It's so weird, just when you think you have the grasp of things, you get confused. But maybe later, maybe tomorrow or the next day we could do that. That might be really helpful. For now, I'm gonna see if I can pull up the syllabus. And then once I do that, I will share that with y'all. And then once I do that, I will see if y'all have any questions about anything that we covered yesterday or anything else for that matter. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good to me.
Cool. And I'm also gonna get the reading schedule locked and loaded since that's an important document for us. All right, I'm getting close. Let's see here. Okay. Did we go over the reading schedule last time?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then we won't do that again. All right, cool. Where's that little, one moment. I think my Mac is demon possessed today. I missed a Zoom call earlier because my iCalendar was not working, and now something similar is going on. Ah, there we go. Okay, I'm good. I see one chat. Okay, I'll look at it. Oh, Max is also Charles, right? Oh no, I'm on drugs. Max, is your mic working? Because apparently you can hear me, and Max is, you go by Charles, right, Max? Oh, sorry, your mic doesn't work. You go by Max. Okay, why was I thinking that? I don't know. Sorry that your mic isn't working. Yeah, I'll try to stay attentive to the chat. And y'all, if y'all see Max throw out a chat, would y'all bring that to my attention? Would y'all help me with that? Awesome, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the the syllabus, and we're going to see if we can get through that. What I would love to do today is to get through the syllabus so that we can then talk about the overall lecture outline that I made. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see if we can get through the syllabus. Have y'all had a chance to read the syllabus?
I think I read most of it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I've looked over it.
Good. Good, good, good. Okay, can y'all see the syllabus right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yay. I can barely see it, but whatever. All right. Oh, there we go. Yes. Did it just change in appearance from your perspective?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay. And by the way, just let me ask you, because my plan is to record all of these classes and then upload them on my YouTube channel. That way, if anyone misses a class, and indeed, I think at least one person here missed Monday's class, you can go back and watch it. But I was watching it like yesterday, and the text of the PDF seemed blurry. But is it blurry right now, or does it look great right now?
Looks good to me.
Looks
All right,
great, yeah.
cool. Good. So yesterday we talked, actually, let me hit the pause button and just say, does anyone have any questions? Questions about the syllabus, questions about what we did yesterday, questions about anything at all? Anyone have any questions or comments before we sort of delve into class today? Yeah, Jacob Levels.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I was able to find a PDF version of C.S. Lewis's book, The Discarded Image, as well
wow.
as Henry Chadwick's Confessions, if anyone was interested in that.
Very cool. Yeah, Jacob, you can put that in the chat or wait for someone to ask you. Very cool. Thank you for that.
I would love that, Jacob.
Very cool. Yeah. Thank you, Jacob. Anything else? Anything else for the good of the group? Any other comments, questions? Did we talk about pandemic related stuff much yesterday or on Monday? I mean, I don't mean like talking generally about the pandemic, because again, I think that, like, I don't know, I want to be fairly disciplined about avoiding distractions. But let me say that I do hope, my hope and my expectation, honestly, is that at some point during the semester, we will gather in person. And actually, I need to even back up before that, because as y'all know, right now, there's no in-person classes meeting, and that's because the university implemented a 2-week delay. Are you with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am not 100% certain that even after 2 weeks, I'm going to go back to campus. To be honest, I can't think that far into the future nowadays. My understanding is that, like, we professors have a lot of liberty and freedom in terms of how we do things. I know that last semester for my intro class, I had like 8 students test positive.
Gosh.
Like, I just thought, I think we'll have a better semester if we do it online. And so I don't know what we're going to do yet, but my hope is that maybe in March, which is almost near the end of the semester, I guess, but hopefully we'll have at least a couple of weeks where we can be together around a table. Now, for those of you who are online students, and I think there's 3 of you, I'm not including you necessarily in that, although I guess you're welcome to join us if you want to. But for those of you who are signed up for the in-person class, the in-person section, I hope to be able to hang out with you in a post-pandemic situation this semester. And that also leads me to the last thing I want to say, which is that I would really love to have an end of the semester party at my house. That's obviously not something that's required for students, but I do know that whenever I was an undergrad, there were a couple of philosophy professors who had students over to their house, and it was an awesome time. So if that's something that interests y'all, I'll let you know that that's my hope. I'm hoping that we can do that. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I was thinking about it yesterday. Let me let me read the course description real quick, Roman numeral 2 on the syllabus. The course description from the official university catalog is, quote, course covers, I literally copied and pasted this. Course covers post-Aristotelians, the early church fathers through Aquinas, as well as later scholastics and early Renaissance philosophers, close quote. Obviously, in this class, we're going to be drinking from the fire hydrant. There's no way that we can do justice to that whole time period. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Post-Aristotelians, oh my gosh. I mean, that's insane. This is a class on medieval and Renaissance philosophy. We're not going to talk about Philo of Alexandria or any of the host of Platonic, Neoplatonist philosophers before Augustine. No, we're going to start with Augustine. Now, I am going to have y'all, as you've probably already noticed, go back, and we are going to talk about Plato and Aristotle a little bit, but only to set us up to talk about Augustine and the medievals. Okay, so that's the course description for what it's worth. We live in, we live in a red state, the great state of Texas. So perhaps Marco Rubio's comment would be popular here as well, that we need more welders in our society and fewer philosophers. I don't know if y'all remember that statement or were even aware of it. Marco Rubio was a Republican candidate for the presidency in 2016. And he said that. He said we need fewer philosophers and more welders. So it's not surprising that the course description at a state university would be so lacking, but hey, it's all good. I wrote some course outlines, Roman numeral 3, just sort of off the top of my head very quickly. Upon completion of this course, students should, 1, be familiar with the character of medieval philosophy. We've already began talking about that some. What I have in mind there is things like realizing that medieval philosophy is very related to theology. And therefore, it's also kind of a hybrid between the Greek legacy on the one hand and what's the other thing that co-constitutes medieval philosophy that we talked about yesterday? Who can help me out?
Was it theology?
No. Who said that?
Jacob Frazier.
Thank you, Jacob. No, it wasn't theology. You're not wrong, and that's not a bad guess, but I'm looking for something more specific. What is the thing, the ingredient in medieval thought that's sort of on the same level as the Greek legacy? Am I making sense? Anyone want to take a guess?
The Hebrew understanding of God.
Yes, and really the Hebrew Bible. Yes, that's it. Who said that?
Jacob Evans.
Yep, that's right, Jacob. You could say, yeah, Hebrew thought, Hebrew understanding of God. And really, we could even say the Hebrew Bible. Anyway, good. That's good. So when I say number 1 under Roman numeral 3, be familiar with the character of medieval philosophy, that's the kind of stuff I mean. Very general and broad sort of familiarity. 2, know how medieval philosophy relates to it. Oh, wow. Same thing. Its historical predecessors, the Greek legacy and the Hebrew Bible. 3, be able to articulate the basic thought of at least 2 thinkers from the medieval period, including Augustine. So what would be great is if you had some proficiency with St. Augustine, so you're able to talk about him in an intelligent way, but then also maybe one other thinker. Maybe it's Thomas Aquinas, maybe it's Bonaventure, maybe it's someone else. 4, know how medieval philosophy relates to what is generally called theology, or at least it would be great if you had at least your own thought out position on that relationship. Remember, I don't expect everyone to agree with me. The point isn't agreement with me. The point is to develop thoughtful positions for yourself, okay? Page 2. Any questions so far? Y'all, if you have a question, just go ahead and shout it out, okay? We doing okay so far? There's a grading scale, very straightforward, A, B, C, D, E, F, or sorry, no E, A, B, C, D, F. Roman numeral 5, let's talk about the way the grade is calculated for the class. There's 300 points total. The paper is worth 100 points, so it's a third of your grade. The final exam, same, 100 points or a third of your grade. And then the remaining 100 points or a third of your grade is a combination of the presentation that you do. Remember, the presentation is kind of like a building block for the paper. It's a way for you to get started on the paper and to get off on the right foot. Y'all, before we end this class today, I need to say something about y'all's, I need to say something about how y'all we need to figure out a way for you to sign up for a topic, okay? So we will talk about that before this class ends. So again, that presentation is something that is done with a view to the paper in mind, and I'm wanting y'all to. Here's what I'm wanting you to do. I'll just say it right now. I'm wanting you to go to the reading schedule, which I'm trying to share it with you. New share. Yes, yay, I'm getting better, Jacob. Can y'all see the reading schedule?
Mhm.
I'm wanting y'all to go to the reading schedule, look at the dates, think about your calendar, and sign up to do a presentation. We'll come to the presentation in a moment on the syllabus, but if someone wants to, really the first candidate is Augustine. If someone wanted to write their paper on Augustine, then I would encourage that person to plan on doing a 10 to 15 minute presentation. We'll come to that more in a minute on Augustine, but that would be in the week of February 1. Am I making sense? Maybe someone else wants to do a presentation on Aquinas or Bonaventure. You would need to sign up for those weeks. Does that make sense? Now, obvious, and really your options are Augustine, Aquinas, Bonaventure, or if you want, you can pick one. Now, if I were you, I wouldn't pick someone else because you're going to be reading about these people anyway. You might as well present on them. Am I making sense? But what I want you to do is to choose a topic, and then we will decide on the dates. So let me say that I'm giving you a homework assignment right now. I'll put up a module later today, but I would like for all of y'all before Monday to send me an email choosing a thinker/text that you want to present on. Okay, I would like for y'all to do that before Monday. Yeah. Let's keep going for now. Let's keep going with the syllabus. Can y'all see the syllabus right now?
Yes.
That is so weird. I cannot see it.
We can see the reading schedule.
Okay, right. Yeah. Oh, bring your shared window to the front. What does that mean? Wow, I don't know how to pull up the syllabus. That's really crazy. Ah, there we go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's the grading. 300 points total. 100 is the paper, 100 is the final exam, and then 100 is the presentation, which goes with the paper, and then class participation. We'll get to class participation in a moment. Okay. Look with me at Roman numeral 6, student presentation. I'm just going to read this stuff. Okay. I might not read it all, but I'm going to read some of it. Each student will make a 10 to 15 minute presentation on one of the texts. I would encourage y'all to, I really don't want you to, I should have said a primary text. Are you with me? On one of the primary texts, meaning Augustine, Aquinas, or Bonaventure. This presentation is designed to assist the student in the writing of his or her paper. It should be a presentation on their plan for the paper. So what I want is kind of like a progress report on your thoughts and your research for the paper. I am going to post a guide, an essay guide for those papers. I will do that before Monday. I will do that before Monday if you guys will choose a topic before Monday. Are you with me? I will post a guide to that paper by Monday, okay? But it's a preliminary version of your paper. I want you to talk to me for at least 10 minutes about what you've read, why you're attracted to this text, some questions you have, some things you've discovered, and where your thinking is on the text that you've landed on, okay? I hope that makes sense, and it will make more sense as we continue. By the way, can I ask you a quick question? Is there someone in the class named Mirka?
Yes.
Hi, Mirka. Were you with us on Monday?
And now I sent you an email that I actually enrolled in the class on Tuesday.
No worries, and welcome to the class. It's great to have you. And then I think that we're missing Malia, right? Is that right? I think that there was a young woman named Malia who is not with us today. So I'm glad that I'm recording this. Anyway, that's a little bit about the student presentation. It goes hand in hand with the mid-semester paper, which is at B, okay? I'm gonna skip that for now. I'm gonna skip that for now because I am going to post a guide for writing the paper, and I'm gonna get that to you by Monday, all right? So I'm gonna skip that section for now. Let's talk about the final exam. It bums me out that I do the final exam this way, but I am gonna do it this way. It's gonna be 10 multiple choice questions. And y'all, here's the thing. So you know how just now I asked that question about the 2 ingredients of medieval thought? Remember that? And what was the answer? What were the 2 ingredients of medieval thought? What were the 2? Who can remind me what that was?
The Greek legacy and the Hebrew Bible.
Boom, that's it. That is a great example of the kind of question that'll be on that final exam. That final exam, as long as you are engaged in this class, it's just not going to be difficult. I mean, that would be a great example of the kind of question that'll be on the final exam. What are the 2 ingredients of medieval thought? A, B, C, and D. Choose one. Okay. So I think that the vast majority of you in this class are like very interested in the topic. You're motivated. You're already engaged. For someone like that, the final exam will not be hard. It's going to be 10 multiple choice questions. Okay. Look with me at D, participation. Students will be graded on the quality and quantity of in-class participation. In class, students should be contributing to a positive classroom environment and engaged with the topic. This means that students should pay attention, ask questions, offer their own opinions on a daily basis, which should in the process demonstrate that the student has read and thought about the material before coming to class. Students who blah, 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 blah will be penalized. Students who sit quietly, contributing nothing to discussions will also be penalized. This is a little bit harsh. I mean, for those of you who've had me in the class, you know that I'm full of grace and mercy. But technically, I do have the right to enforce what this says. Basically, I need you guys to participate, okay? I'm not going to count off if you don't talk every class, but certainly you need to be asking a question or making some sort of a comment at least once a week. Does that make sense? And I want to really encourage you, go ahead and, like, you don't need my permission to talk. Raise your hand, get my attention, say something, okay? Does that make sense? Awesome. So that's a little bit about participation. I don't know what that stuff is right there. I probably should have deleted that.
Max asked you a question in the chat.
Oh, awesome. What is it? Can someone read it to me?
Does he need to buy a webcam for the class?
No. Now, why? Hey, Max, I think, okay, I'll try to find the comments. I certainly hope not. Oh, I found them. Max, why would you say that? Why would you even ask that? Max, can you hear me?
I think he was the one that had the broken mic.
Oh, yeah, I know, but
Oh.
yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Max, can you hear me right now? If you can hear me, say yes in the comments, in the chat. Okay, no, you don't need to. Now you can, like you totally can, but you don't need to. Max, if you ask a question / make a comment with the chat feature, that's good enough. You know what I mean? Now, Max, are you in the in-person section or the online section? Yeah, no, you're good. Whenever we start meeting in person, assuming that we do, then this problem will go away. So no, I would not buy a webcam, although you're welcome to. Okay, good. Continuing on with the syllabus. Any other thoughts, questions, comments at the moment? Okay, now I have to find, can y'all still see the syllabus right now?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. Jacob, I think I'm getting better, but maybe not. I will say that in my other class where there's 40 students, it is a lot harder. That is true. Partly because I'm trying to scroll through so I can see all their faces because I like to know my students. Y'all, can we skip? Is it okay with you if we skip a bunch of this? I want to talk about philosophy. This syllabus is so damn boring. Is that okay with y'all? Listen, if there's anyone who has concerns about the syllabus, concerns about the grade, talk to me. I'm a nice person and it's all going to work out, I swear. And those of you who've taken my class before know that that's true. Okay, good. Okay, let me, yeah, let's stop talking about this. It is unspeakably boring. Let us now jump to the the overall lecture outline that I came up with. Okay, that'll be more fun. Okay, here we go. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So here's how I envision this semester going. The first thing that we're going to do, the first official topic of conversation, is the meaning of the term medieval philosophy. We've already started talking about that a little bit. Yeah, the word philosophy is contentious. Let me just tell you why. Prior to the rediscovery of Aristotle in the 12th century in Latin-speaking Europe, okay? Let me repeat that. Prior to the rediscovery of Aristotle in the 12th century in Latin-speaking Europe, prior to that, people did not distinguish between philosophy on the one hand and theology on the other. Now, we do, you and I do, right? Like, you guys think that philosophy and theology are very different, don't you? Who can tell me what is the difference between philosophy on the one hand and theology on the other? Like, I'm just looking for your opinion. if I were to ask, if we were at a party and someone were to come up and say, "Oh, you're taking a philosophy class, that's like theology, right?" What would you say?
Uh,
Theology would be like a sub branch of philosophy, whereas like philosophy could be just about logic or just about there's different sub branches that all are in the one all encompassing branch of philosophy, and one of them being theology.
Fascinating. I think, oh, I'm blanking on your name and I can't make it pop up on the little square.
Mason Remaley.
Jason, forgive me. But you're used to it, so it's all good. Mason, I think that your answer is fascinating. I'm not going to disagree with it. This is partly like a kind of like an opinion exercise. I think that at most university philosophy departments in the United States of America, go to UT Austin, go to Harvard, go to the University of Chicago, go to NYU, the vast majority of professors would not consider theology to be a branch of philosophy. I think that one could make an argument that it is, but that's an unusual opinion. Am I making sense? But thank you for that. Someone else, maybe someone who hasn't spoken yet. If I were to ask you, hey, what's the difference between theology on the one hand and philosophy on the other? What would you say?
Well, like this is obviously just my uninformed opinion, but I've never really heard a very satisfactory like definition of philosophy. But I think broadly, it's kind of like a way of interpreting the world or understanding the world. So I guess by that standard, theology is kind of not a primitive version of philosophy, but kind of like an alternate version with its own like starting assumptions.
Okay, yeah.
This theology, I guess I'm trying to think, let's see here, there's you could study theology like as a practicing Christian, like if you were in Bible class or something like that. But then also, I guess you could just study it academically. But theology has the presumption of faith. It has a few. Well, I was reading a little bit about the scholastics, and one thing they mentioned is that they assume that the Bible is gospel. That they assume the Bible is plays some sort of a role, or maybe perhaps the most important role in understanding the fabric of reality. And this is different. And then they sort of try to work out how that works in concert with reason and empirical evidence. And that's different than the ancient Greeks, where so like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle weren't trying to marry a faith-based doctrine with reason.
Okay, now tell me your name again and forgive me.
Michael,
thank you for all that. Can I ask what text is that you were reading?
Gracia.
Great, that's what I was hoping you would say. Okay, excellent. Y'all, that's all really good stuff. I'm going to back up a little bit and say this. Think about the etymology of the terms, right? I mean, a lot of what philosophy is about is paying attention to terms. Who can tell me, who can say something to me about the etymology of the word theology?
Isn't it wisdom lover or something like that? Wisdom loving.
That sounds like philosophy. I'm trying to ask about theology.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. All good. Yeah. Who can say something about the word theology? Does it have a prefix? Does it have a suffix? Does it have a root word? Talk to me.
It's study of.
Yes,
I don't really know.
That's right, Jacob. That's right. And you know that because of the LOGY ending, right?
Mhm.
That's exactly right. Now, Jacob, what is it the study of? I mean,
that I don't know the part of that.
Check this out. What I was hoping you would say is it's the study of, I'm gonna see if I can draw it out of you. Whatever it's the study of another part of the same word, right? What is that part of the word?
Theo.
Good. Theo or theos. Class, let me hear you say theos.
Theos.
Who can spell that for me? In English, obviously.
Theos.
So is it not theos? It's a different word?
Christian, was that you?
Yeah, sorry. Was theos a different word than theos?
No, those are the same word. Those
Oh,
are the
okay.
same word, brother. Good question.
Okay.
Yeah. So back to Jacob, the new Jacob. What's your last name, Jacob?
Done.
Right. And Jacob Levels is your roommate with us today. Oh yeah, that's Jacob Frazier. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm hoping you'll talk in class today. But hey, if you don't, I might survive. Yeah. So theos and theos are the same. I'm going to say theos. But back to Jacob, the new Jacob. What's your last name again?
Done.
Dunn. Thank you, Mr. Dunn. So whatever theology is the study of, it's the study of theos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like whatever biology is the study of, it's the study of bios, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question now is, well, what's theos? Anyone want to hazard a guess? Probably about half of you know. What is theos? Theos.
It's referring to God.
Yeah, it's the word for God. God.
Is that Greek or Latin?
That's Greek. Thank you for asking that. Now, Michael, it's actually, oh yeah, do you know what it is in Latin? So some of this stuff is a little bit complicated, and what I try to do with my students like you guys is to keep it simple. I try to give you guys a simplicity on the far side of complexity, if you will. I got to pull up the chat. There we go. Okay, so check this out. Who can tell me what this word is? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Dang it. That's what it is in Latin, Michael. Deus.
Like a deity?
Yeah. Now, in Latin, the way you say theology is that. So okay, so do you know that Greek and Latin are very similar languages? So a lot of times point number one, Greek and Latin are very similar languages, right? Let me ask you a question. Basically, which of them came first historically and which of them came second historically?
Greek was first, and then Latin came about.
That's right. Now, Mason, tell me why you would say that. You're right. Tell me why you would say that.
Because Greece came about like as a civilization before kind of Roman civilization taking over the Italian peninsula.
Yep, I like it. Here's another way to sort of think about that. Who can name a super famous Greek philosopher? Who can name one for me? Go ahead. Anyone? Who?
Socrates.
Good, Socrates. Now, what language did he speak?
Greek.
Yes, he spoke Greek. Now, who can name a super famous thinker, philosopher, theologian who wrote in Latin? Anyway.
Marcus Aurelius.
Okay, good. I was actually think of a medieval thinker. How about Thomas Aquinas? Right? Thomas Aquinas wrote in Latin. So who came first, Socrates or Thomas Aquinas?
Socrates.
That's right. And see, what I'm trying to suggest to you is that in a way you can think of Latin as coming later than Greek. Now, that's not absolutely true in every sense, but for our purposes, we can think about it that way. Okay. Now, back to this relationship between the word theos on the one hand and the word deus on the other. Because I think Michael's the main person I'm talking to about this, right? A lot of times the Latins just take the Greek words and transliterate them into Latin. So they're the very same. The word transliteration, do you know what that word means? Do you know what the word transliteration means?
No, not exactly, no.
Okay, let me give you an example. The English word amen, A-M-E-N, is a transliteration of the Hebrew term amunah. It's a transliteration. A translator. Okay, I'll give you some other ones. Okay, so in the New Testament, there's one weird passage where Paul says, Maranatha. That's kind of weird. That's a Hebrew phrase, but Paul wrote it in Greek. He didn't translate it. He transliterated it. He took the letters in Hebrew and like converted them to letters in Greek. That's a transliteration. Does that make sense?
Sort of appropriating it for the different language, but it's
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Can someone else give me some examples of transliteration?
hamburguesas.
Yeah. So whenever we speak English, but then sort of maintain the Spanish terms, that's kind of similar. Everyone knows what hamburguesa means. We don't necessarily translate it to hamburger. That's right. So when I'm
Spanish, in the Spanish language, there's no such thing as hamburguesa.
Oh.
But like it's more like an American thing.
Okay.
Because if you go over there, they're gonna be like an hamburguesa, like, you know, what is an hamburguesa? It will be more like una torta or something like that.
Yeah. Mirka, thank you so much for that. They definitely know what they are in Mexico, but hey, that's cool. That's so excellent, Mirka. That's probably kind of sort of like transliteration. Perfect. Here's what I'm trying to say. You do find the word theologia in Latin. It's a Greek word. All right. It's a Greek word. But check this out. This is Thomas Aquinas, the Summa Theologiae. Summa Theologiae. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
But what is that second word, theologiae? That is the word theologia. You can forget about the AE ending at the moment. I assume that no one in the room knows Latin. They borrowed that word and preserved it in the Latin language. But more to the point, I think that you can see the similarity between the words Deus and the words theos, right? Usually what I do in a real class is I'll write these words on the board and get the students to see the similarities. They both end in S. They both have two different vowels. Also, what's the first letter of Deus?
A D.
Right. And in Greek, what's the first letter of theos? Anyone know? It's a theta.
Oh, theta.
It's a theta. It's a theta. And I don't have a chalkboard, but do you know what a theta is? Mirka, do you know what a theta is?
Is it the same one they use like in the math classes or?
Yeah, probably. And also like Greek life. You know what I mean? Like in fraternities and sororities.
Oh, I don't know.
This is a theta. You see that? That's a theta.
Yeah.
And so if we were to write the word theos in Greek, in fact, I'll do it. You can see that the first letter is theta, right? The point right now is that the theta is a lot like the D. They're both dentals. They're both phonetic sounds that you make with your teeth. Tha, the, duh. Are you with me? They're basically the same word. Now, let me throw out another word, which is real similar. And then we're going to have to get back to the syllabus. But this is just too much fun. What is this word?
Zeus.
Who can tell me what that word means?
I just know he's a Greek god.
He's a Greek god. That's right. But notice how similar it is to both Deus and Theos. Does everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
But back to the etymology of the word theology. Theology is the logos, or the study of. That word logos can mean study of. Are you with me so far? Theology is the logos of theos. What's theos?
God.
Theos is God. Now, let me ask you another question. In order to be a philosopher, let me ask you a question. Can you, okay, some of y'all have taken like 4 or 5 philosophy classes, right? Raise your hand if you've had at least three philosophy classes. Good. Okay. Now, have you talked about God in every single one of those philosophy classes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Did you talk about God in your logic class? Okay. Jacob says yes. What about you, Mason?
I don't remember it in particular, but it might have come up in discussion.
Yeah, I doubt that you talked much about God in a logic class. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. The point right now, y'all, the point right now is that you and I tend to think of theology and philosophy as radically different things. I like what Michael said. A lot of people would say that you need to have faith in God. You need to believe that God exists in order to do theology. But is that true to do philosophy? No, most people would say no. The point right now is that you and I tend to think that philosophy and theology are radically different disciplines. But prior to the discovery of Aristotle in the Latin-speaking West in the 12th century, no one thought that. We're going to come back to the rediscovery of Aristotle in the Latin-speaking West in a moment. We're going to come back to that. Right now, I need to pull up, there we go. Get back to the lecture outline. So here's what I'm trying to say. The first thing that we're going to talk about, and we will start this on Monday in earnest, is the meaning of the term medieval philosophy, okay? Then after that, we're going to go through the Gracia essay. We'll probably start this on Monday as well and talk about the Gracia article. I think it's a really good article. I don't agree with everything in it, but who cares? We're going to talk about that. I think that it does a good job of raising lots of important issues, okay? Then after that, we're going to turn our attention to Plato and Aristotle. And again, this is not a class on ancient philosophy, but I want at least to go back to Plato and Aristotle, grab some important themes so that we can bring them forward for our discussion about medieval philosophy. And we're going to do that with Plato. We're going to do that with Aristotle. And then if you look at C underneath Roman numeral 3, we're going to talk about this term Neoplatonism, okay? Yeah. Then we're going to go to St. Augustine. And really, Augustine is the first medieval thinker that we're going to be looking at. And we are going to read 3 books of the Confessions of St. Augustine. We're going to read book 1 just because I think it's a good way for you to whet your appetite in Augustine. It's a good way for you to sort of become accustomed to his way of writing, his way of thinking. Then book 7 is when he specifically talks about the books of the Platonists. But when he says Platonists, he really means what we would call Neoplatonists. And really what he means is Plotinus. We're not going to talk a lot about Plotinus, but what we want to pay attention to is how in book 7, Augustine gives Plotinus some thumbs up and some thumbs down. Are you with me? There's some ways in which he says yes to Plotinus, and then there's other ways in which he rejects Plotinus. That's really what we want to pay attention to in book 7 of the Confessions. By the way, any of these books, 1, 7, or 11, would make great paper topics. And again, if you do your paper topic in Augustine, then you're going to do your presentation on Augustine, okay? Good. Then we're going to look at book 11. And the reason we're going to do that is because in that book, Augustine talks about creation and time. And those are very contentious issues when we get to the medieval period, because I'll just tell you right now, one of the really amazing things that Thomas Aquinas thinks, he does believe in creation ex nihilo, and he does not believe that the world has existed from all eternity past. However, he says that those views are rational. So who is it that held those views? Who is it who thought that the world has literally always existed and that therefore it's not the case that the world was ever created in time? Who thought that? Can someone tell me someone who thought that? An ancient thinker?
Didn't Aristotle think that?
Aristotle did think that. And so in a way, Thomas Aquinas is defending Aristotle. He's saying, hey, Aristotle is wrong We know he's wrong because we have revelation, but please understand that his view is not irrational. Okay? By the way, Thomas Aquinas is not the first person to think that. Origen thought that. Origen, one of the church fathers who's super, super important for every subsequent church father, he thought that. There were other church fathers who thought that as well. But guess who did not think that? Bonaventure. Bonaventure is adamant in his position that not only is the eternality of the world contradicted by revelation. We'll talk about the meaning of the term revelation soon, but Bonaventure wants to say not only does revelation show us that the world was created at a specific point in time, and therefore it's not the case that the world has already existed. Not only does revelation show us that, but reason shows us that, according to Bonaventure. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see that Bonaventure and Thomas Aquinas disagree on this particular point, namely the rationality of the eternality of the world. But this is what Augustine is dealing with in book 11 of the Confessions, okay? And there's some other stuff regarding book 11 of the Confessions that we will talk about, but that's Augustine, okay? I think that I allotted 2 weeks. I hope I allotted 2 weeks for Augustine. But after that, we're going to move to C.S. Lewis. I really like The Discarded Image. It's an underappreciated work by C.S. Lewis. The reason I like it is that it's just a great bird's eye view. He lists lots of topics, and it's just a super handy way to begin to get your mind around some things, okay? Y'all, after that, we're going to dive into scholasticism, and the real thing that I mean by scholasticism, we're going to talk about the word scholasticism, and Gracia talks about it as well. But scholasticism emerges with the rediscovery of Aristotle in the 12th century. You can probably tell that this issue of the rediscovery of Aristotle in the 12th century is a super big deal, right? It really changes the way people think in Western culture. And that's what gives rise to the distinction between philosophy on the one hand and theology on the other. But it also sort of changes the way that at least some Christian thinkers begin to write and think. And it creates the possibility, basically, that theology can now be done in a scientific way. In other words, with the rise of scholasticism, what we begin to see is a mode of thinking about God and truth that's very systematic. Systematic. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Scholastic thought is systematic thought, okay? So we're going to take a deep dive into scholasticism. We're going to talk a little bit about the medieval university, particularly the University of Paris. We're going to talk about another divide that we began to see in this period, namely scholastic theology versus monastic theology. We'll talk about that. Then we're going to look at Thomas Aquinas. We're going to read his 5 ways after we read some introductory material by an amazing thinker named Joseph Pieper. And then we will read Bonaventure, okay? If we have time, we will try to read an article on Renaissance thought, although if we don't get there, I'm not going to kill myself. And then we'll see if near the end of the semester, we can reserve some time for conclusions and connections, and see if we can draw some lines that point in the direction of modern philosophy. Okay, y'all, wow, we got through it. We did it. This was a 1-page document, my overall lecture outline. This is how I envision the entirety of the semester. Who wants to ask a question? We have 3 or 4 minutes. Who has a question or a comment about this stuff? First off, am I making sense?
Yes.
That sometimes I worry that I'm talking to myself.
No, I understand.
Good.
I do have one question.
Good.
It's possible to do well in this class without having a very large background knowledge of philosophy, correct?
You know, I do think that that is true. But I think here's what I would say, Jacob. I think that the answer is definitely yes, but it's going to require that you ask questions. It's going to require that you ask questions. If you ask questions, I will answer them. And if I don't have time to answer them in class, I'll answer them one-on-one or over email. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Jacob, let me ask you why. First off, I'm tempted to give you like 5 extra credit points in your class participation grade just for asking that question. But let me ask you, why do you ask?
I have a little bit of background knowledge of philosophy.
Yeah.
But not a whole lot. Like
Does this lecture outline scare you a little bit?
A little bit. It
Yeah.
seems a little out, like a little large thinking, and I just like Aristotle and Plato and all these other guys. Like I barely know anything about them.
Yeah.
What I do know about them comes from my history background.
You know, I would say if you feel the need to drop this class before the deadline, I will not be offended. That's why that deadline is there. But I want to encourage you to go for it. I mean, unless, Jacob, you're not interested. If you're not interested, I would encourage you not to persevere. But if you are interested in this material, I will help you succeed. I will help you succeed. Okay?
All right.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, questions? Again, I'm going to try to do my best to keep these lectures at an hour. The reason I'm doing that is because there's so much extra work for me involved in Zoom. Any other thoughts, questions, comments? Who can tell me what you're supposed to be reading? Who can tell me? I want you to tell me the next 2 texts that we're going to be discussing.
I believe one of them is the introduction on Gracia, right?
That's right, Mirka. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, Mirka. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Plato's Line.
What?
Plato's Line.
Yes.
And
Yes. That's right. So I put up a Plato excerpt last night as well as an Aristotle excerpt, and we will turn our attention to those after we discuss the Gracia article. By the way, those 2 excerpts are very short. They're like an average of 2 pages each. Okay? Y'all, it's good to be with you today. Happy weekend. If anyone has any questions, feel free to text me or email me or call me, okay? But I think that's it. I think we're good for now, and I can't wait to get started on Monday talking about the Gracia article, all right? Peace be with you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Y'all take care.